Hi everyone, it's Kate from Sleep Time Baby, and this is day number 4 of the 5-day sleep challenge. So yep, into day 4, and today we're going to talk about daytime, so naps and everything. But firstly, I just wanted to say thank you so much for everyone who's kind of watching, joining in. I've had quite a lot of feedback, which is really lovely. There was such a lovely note from a lady last night. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and she'd watched the video about night wakings, and she sort of left her child to settle for a little bit, and she was amazed that he had settled, and she was lying there awake because she was used to being awake so much. And then she resettled him, and he slept for a super amount of time. So I'm so pleased these kind of help. So my aim with these videos is really to give you all that information. So going back to what we said at the beginning, try and identify the issue, give you some tips and tricks, and hopefully it helps your child to sleep better. So I'm really pleased it's kind of working for people. So today I'm talking about daytime and naps. So if you haven't got a child that naps, it's probably not a good video for you to kind of stay in and watch. But for those of you who do, then this is the one you want to kind of take on board to see what's going on with your kind of naps, because they can be a pain. Naps can be a real pain. When I work with clients, I always sort of say, look, it might take you 4 to 6 weeks to figure out naps. It might not, they might be fine, but it can take a little bit of stage, and this kind of really annoying age of about 6 months where we get a lot of short naps going on. But I'll talk through it. So the first thing I want you to know about daytime from my point of view is that I'm not a super strict framework kind of person. So I don't tell you to have your child sleeping at a certain point in time for a certain age. I also don't sort of dictate as to how long a nap should be, because every child is different, and that's really, really important. So there are some programs that might talk about a long lunchtime nap, and they're really obsessive about it. Your child must sleep for 2 hours in the middle of the day. Doesn't always happen. Your child may not have the right kind of sleep pressure to sleep for that amount of time at that time of day. So you need to kind of work out what's right for your day, for your child. So my suggestion always is to create your own framework. And by that, what I mean is kind of working out what your daytime structure should look like based on your child and your child's age. So it's all about getting the balance right between what they need and kind of what you need them to do. So for what I mean by that is actually, if you let your child sleep too late, they're not going to go to bedtime at a good hour. So you need to work out how you're going to fit your naps in across the day. So wake up in the morning and go, right, today we woke up at 7 o'clock, and I know that the first nap is going to be and that's when you have to know what your child's awake time is. So I'll share my awake times in the group and on kind of my stories and Instagram, so that you can see what my recommended awake time is per child. So an awake time is the time that is in between them waking up and the first nap, or in between naps. How long they can stay awake for before they need to sleep again, basically. So for example, a 6-month-old child, normally I'd say around about a 2 3/4 hour awake time. So it can sometimes be shorter in the morning. So you'd wake up in the morning, 7 o'clock, and you think, okay, about 9:30, 2.5 hours, I'm going to start looking for tired signs. And when you see those tired signs, then you know it's kind of getting closer to nap time. Later on in the day, it might get longer. I wouldn't stretch it out. Again, some people stretch it out to say that you have a 4-hour awake time in the afternoon. I'm not a big fan of that, because I think they can get really overtired, and overtiredness is not your friend, as I spoke about the other day. So making sure that you kind of know what your child's awake time is really kind of important. The other thing to do is to know what their sleep needs is during the day. So again, I'll put on some information. Average, it's really important to know these are all averages, and your child is going to be different. So, but try and see if you're somewhere within that kind of range, or it's not really a range actually, but it's somewhere within the right kind of ballpark figure. If you're like an hour and a half short of the amount of sleep that your child needs in the day, and they're not sleeping well at night time, then there's probably something going on there in terms of the naps, and you want to address it. If you're short of the nap awake time in the day, then you do kind of want to go, okay, maybe I do need to perhaps think about what's going on, really. So bear that in mind as well. Now, one of the most important things to consider is where your child's going to sleep. So I am also not super strict about where the nap happens. If you've got a child that's not napping for multiple times in the day, it's advisable to kind of have them sleeping in one of those naps in the cot. but it doesn't have to be every nap. So don't kind of stress yourself out about where they're sleeping, but it's really, it can be useful to kind of make sure that your child has at least one of those naps in the cot during the day, so you're reinforcing where sleep kind of happens. But if the other nap, especially the afternoon nap, if you've got kind of a 3 or 4 nap scenario going on, then actually if your child is like just in the sling or in the buggy, or you know, you're driving the car just to get the nap in, do that, because naps can be stressful. So try and get one of those naps in the cot, in the sleep space during the day. And make sure that the environment's right. So when you're kind of building up to this nap, so you know it's going to be, let's use that 6-month example again. So you know that the nap is coming after about sort of 2 3/4 hours. Try and do a bit of a wind down. So don't go from an activity into like now sleep, because that's not going to be that easy for the child to do. Maybe do something like read a book or close the curtains, get changed into comfy clothes, something that's probably a little bit similar to the bedtime routine, but nothing that's going to be too exhaustive, because you haven't got ages to play with. So set them up to that for that. And then in terms of the environment, you kind of want to make sure that you're replicating bedtime if you're doing it at home. So I would be putting them in their sleep space. I would make sure that it's as dark as possible so that you're encouraging sleep. And making sure they're kind of comfy in the right sort of clothing. So changing out of any kind of maybe tight trousers or anything, making sure that they're going to be able to settle down for sleep. So doing that is is good to kind of make sure that they're in the best place to go for sleep. So once you kind of identify that it's nap time and you're going for it at home, then what I'd encourage you to do is to settle your child in the way that's appropriate for you. So we've talked about self-settling before. With naps, you want to kind of encourage them to self-settle because that can help them to sleep for longer, but you want to make sure that you're doing it in a way that you're comfortable with. So like I was saying before, maybe offer them some comfort by being in the room with them, but don't become the thing that gets them to go to sleep. You know, you don't have to put up with long periods of crying here. You want to kind of interrupt it, you want to move on that journey towards self-settling for naps as well. However, there is a point at which you kind of give up with naps, because for me, it's more important that a child sleeps in the day than how they fall asleep. So, and that's because if you get into overtiredness, it's going to ruin your bedtime. So what I always suggest to do is think about bedtime as being the most important thing, and then after that, consider what's going on with night wakings and daytime. So don't kind of make sure that you're pushing for perfection in daytime, because that actually can cause you more stress than it's needed. So maybe after half an hour of trying for a self-settled nap, shall we say, give up, just do something that works, because then you can get your child to sleep. And then the next time you're looking for a nap, then that's probably the time to try again. And hopefully what you'll see is that then the child will kind of start to work towards self-settling. So don't kind of stress out about it too much, is what I'm really trying to get across. Naps can be very stressful. Now, in terms of a quick note about kind of transitioning, because nap transitions can happen, well, again, it's all averages, but you look at kind of 3 to 2 naps being around about 7 months, 2 to 1 naps around about 14 months, and then, gosh, giving up the nap can happen anytime from 2 years onwards. My children slept until they were gone 3. So it depends, it really does. Key signs for a nap transition would be about them resisting going down at bedtime, and also maybe shorter naps during the day, and potentially if they're waking up at night time, either grumpily or in a happy kind of wake up. A happy kind of wake up in the night time often denotes they're getting too much sleep in the day, so be wary of that. So quick note about short naps, because that's often kind of what's happening here. Short naps are caused by a few things. Can be caused by a few things. The major one is often the awake window, so make sure that your awake window looks right. If you find that your child isn't settling well and is kind of waking up probably kind of too tired, then that probably means that they haven't slept for long enough and they were going down probably kind of a bit overtired. So you might want to make the window shorter. And then similarly, if you're waking up and they are, if they're going down and they're struggling to settle, then you might find you need to elongate the awake window. But look at the averages to see what you can do with that. Make sure the room's really dark. And then kind of keep trying and seeing if you can extend the nap by maybe rushing straight into them and seeing if you can do something to get them to go to sleep when they wake up, or perhaps leaving them for a little while to cry, and see if that helps. Just for a few minutes, again, up to you really. So that's the kind of a few tips on short naps as well. So that's it for today in terms of my advice on daytime. I will be back tomorrow to talk about some other bits and bobs, but I will see you then. Just thinking about the content for tomorrow, I think I'm gonna, when I've done this in the past, I've looked at kind of doing a Q&A session on the Friday, but I've got a feeling that I've got too much to talk about tomorrow. So what I might do is actually do the Q&A next week and extend this a bit, because, you know, what's an extension to a 5-day sleep challenge apart from breaking the rules? But what I might talk about tomorrow is regressions, illnesses, there was something else I was going to talk about, kind of what ifs kind of thing. So clock changing, another one coming up. So bits and bobs. And maybe next week I'll look at taking some questions. So I'll give you the weekend to kind of implement some stuff, see how you get on, and then maybe we can talk about what's going on next week. But yeah, I will leave you for today. I'm going to post about the kind of the prize for today. So today's prize is going to be the blackout blind. So we'll be giving that away today, or posting it out today, so you can enter the prize. So keep an eye out for that. I will see you later, and have a lovely, if a bit windy, afternoon. All right, take care. Bye bye.